Imagine standing on the frontier of the ancient Near East, where endless deserts meet fertile valleys, and where caravans carried silk, gold, and the ambitions of kings. In this vast landscape, a new power rose from the east, a power Rome tried again and again to destroy, yet never conquered. A power that humbled Roman generals, dominated the Silk Road, and shaped half the ancient world. This is the story of the Parthian Empire, Rome's forgotten rival. The Parthians did not begin as emperors. They began as wanderers, nomadic tribes from the steppes of Central Asia. To the Greeks, they were barbarians from nowhere. To the Seleucid kings ruling after Alexander the Great, they were a minor nuisance. But history often turns on the ambitions of those the world underestimates. Around 247 BC, a Parthian chief named Arsaces rebelled, declaring independence. Few noticed, fewer cared. Yet within a few generations, his descendants built an empire stretching from the Euphrates to the mountains of Afghanistan, a realm that would endure for nearly 5 centuries. Parthia's strength came from 2 pillars, its geography and its warriors. The empire sat at the heart of the Silk Road. Anyone traveling between Rome, India, or China passed through Parthian lands. Wealth poured into their cities. Taxes, trade, and diplomacy shaped their power. But their armies made them legendary. Parthian horse archers were unmatched, fast, precise, and deadly. They mastered a tactic that became world famous, the Parthian shot. A horseman would pretend to flee, twist backward in the saddle, and fire an arrow with lethal accuracy while galloping away. What looked like retreat became a trap. Supporting them were the cataphracts, heavy cavalry armored from head to toe, horses included. They charged like living battering rams. Against this combination of speed and armor, even Rome struggled. And Rome did struggle. In 53 BC, Marcus Licinius Crassus, the richest man in Roman history and one of the 3 rulers of Rome, invaded Parthia seeking glory. He imagined an easy victory. He imagined himself another Alexander. But he marched into a land he did not understand, against an enemy he could not predict. On the plains near Carrhae, Crassus met a Parthian army led by General Surena, a brilliant commander, a nobleman of immense charisma, and a master of cavalry warfare. Under burning sun and endless sands, the 2 worlds collided. The Roman legion stood in tight formation, heavy, disciplined, slow. The Parthians attacked like a desert storm. Arrows fell in black waves. Cataphracts thundered across the field. And every time the Romans advanced, the Parthians vanished, firing backward with deadly precision. It became one of Rome's greatest disasters. 20,000 Romans dead, 10,000 captured and marched east, never to return. Crassus himself was killed in a failed negotiation, his dream of glory dying with him. Reflective slow. News of the defeat shook the Mediterranean world. Rome, the master of Europe, had been humiliated by an empire many Romans barely knew existed. And Parthia was not finished. They invaded Syria, threatened Roman provinces, and supported Caesar's enemies during Rome's civil wars. The rivalry became a centuries-long struggle, a silent Cold War that sometimes burst into full flame. Calm but intense. Rome tried again under Mark Antony. He marched east with one of the largest armies ever sent against Parthia, more than 100,000 men. But Parthian horse archers and harsh desert terrain shattered his campaign. Disease, ambushes, and endless skirmishes forced him to retreat with massive losses. Another Roman disaster. Another Parthian triumph. Smooth, informative. Yet Parthia was more than cavalry and battles. It was a fusion of cultures: Persian, Greek, nomadic, and Mesopotamian. Its cities thrived on trade. Its kings ruled through alliances with noble families. Its art blended Greek realism with Eastern decoration. And its diplomacy controlled the flow of silk from China to Rome. For centuries, Parthia shaped world commerce. But every empire faces its twilight. Internal rivalries between noble families weakened Parthian unity. Rebellions flared. Kings rose and fell in rapid succession. And on their southern frontier, a new Persian dynasty waited: the Sasanian Persians. In the early 3rd century AD, the Sasanians rebelled, led by Ardashir. Unlike earlier challengers, he won victory after victory. Parthia, weakened by internal conflict, could not resist. In 224 AD, the last Parthian king fell, and a new Persian empire rose. And so the Parthian Empire ended, not in collapse, not in conquest by Rome, but replaced by another Persian dynasty that admired Parthian traditions even as it reformed them. Epic closing tone. Yet for nearly 500 years, Parthia stood between Rome and the East, controlling trade, shaping conflict, and redefining cavalry warfare. They defeated Rome's greatest armies. They humbled its most ambitious generals. And though history often forgets them, the Parthians were one of the most powerful forces of the ancient world. This was the Parthian Empire, Rome's greatest rival from the East, and an empire that refused to be conquered.